This is the Inside Investment Banking series, and this video is about networking. This series is to help college students prepare for their internship search, and I thought this would be a good time to help demystify the process for those looking to work in investment banking. This video is actually a request from Andy, who saw one of my other videos, so thank you so much for the suggestion. A little bit about me. My name is Tiffany Yu, and I graduated from Georgetown a few years ago with a degree in business. While I was in college, did a couple internships, ended up interning in investment banking after my junior year, and then got the full-time offer, returned to investment banking full-time, did the 2-year analyst program, and then spent a year as an investment banking campus recruiter. So let's take a step back. What is networking? In layman's terms, it's establishing relationships with people. It's not anything complicated. It's actually just making and maintaining relationships. So when you think about investment banking, where are you going to find the people to network with? If the bank, we'll call them, let's pick Lehman. If Lehman comes to your school, they will host an info session. They will also host subsequent events at your school. Those are great ways to meet professionals who are working in investment banking and people who work at Lehman. If they don't come to your school, then you can try webinars. Sometimes Lehman may hold webinars that go over a lot of this information that I'm going over with you right now. Or they may host broader local events. So if you're in the Boston area or the DC area, New York, LA, San Francisco, Chicago, big cities, go to one of those events. They may be diversity focused, but they will also be more opportunities to meet people. Within your school, you can go to club events. So sometimes finance clubs or investment banking clubs will invite keynote speakers or have panels. Those are great ways to meet people. Also leverage alumni who are working at Lehman. Check your alumni database. Also, friends and friends of friends. So maybe your friends interned at Lehman, or maybe your friends know someone who interned at Lehman or who works at Lehman. And if none of those work, then check out LinkedIn. Chances are you may know someone who works at Lehman who knows someone that you know by some random connection. You can ask that friend to help facilitate an introduction for you. The one thing I want to stress here is that everyone matters. Every conversation that you have with anybody who works at Lehman plays a role in whether or not you get considered for your internship. That can be senior people, it's the keynote speakers, it's the people attending that info session. It can be junior people, the current analysts who graduated from your college, who are coming back for the info session. Junior people who had the time and wanted to travel to Boston for that random company event. It's also recruiters. It's alumni and it's interns, current students, people who had interned at Lehman before. They can provide intel to the recruiters or to senior or junior people they worked with over the summer about your character and your work ethic and whether or not you'd be a worthy candidate. So once you have access to these people, what do? So if you're at an info session, of course it's in person, but if it's through a friend or through a friend of friend or through LinkedIn, it'll probably happen over email. What you want to do is you want to ask your friend if they're okay with having you use their name as the mutual contact, or ask if they'll help facilitate the introduction for you. The one thing I want to stress is do not cold call people over the phone. Picking up the phone and calling someone you do not know does not make any sense. So anyway, once you're ready to send this email or you're at the info session, you want to make sure you've perfected your 90-second pitch. So what is that? It's actually probably not even 90 seconds, it's maybe 60 seconds. You talk about who you are. Are you a sophomore? Are you a junior? Are you studying business, economics? And what have you done in the past that connects you to what you want to do in the future? So what you want to do in the future is an investment banking internship. What have you done in the past? Are you part of some finance club? Did you do some finance internship in some other area of finance that helped you learn more about investment banking? Then I also want to stress that if you're at an info session or if you're at an event where there are a lot of people there from Lehman, it's not about quantity, it's about quality. So you maybe want to target 3 or 4 people that you want to meet that night. So this is in the instance of an info session. You want to target the recruiter because she or he can help facilitate the process for you and tell you how the process will work. You want to talk to a senior person. Maybe it's not the keynote speaker if they have too many people wanting to talk to them. Maybe it's someone else so you can hear why they spent their entire career in the industry. Then you want to talk to a junior person. Maybe it's an intern, a campus ambassador, or a first year or a second year analyst. You want to know what you're going to be doing day to day. Get to know them. You've already given them your 60-second pitch. Ask them questions about who they are, why they decide to do the internships, why they decide to stay in the industry. Get to know them and be interested in them, and you want to be interesting. Chances are they may turn the conversation back to you, and you don't want to be the person who has the cookie cutter questions and answers about how smart you are and how good your grades are and how you know everything about what's going on in the markets and in finance, because chances are they probably know more than you. You want to be smart about the questions that you ask and what you wear. So you don't want to wear a muumuu to an information session. You want to wear a suit. But you want to make sure that you be yourself, because at the end of the day, you don't want to be there at 10 p.m. next to someone who can't stand you. And you don't want to be that person that nobody wants to grab a drink with at the end of a really tough project. After you've met this person, whether it's through an info session or through an informational interview, you want to follow up within the first day or two, within the first 24 to 48 hours. If it's an info session, don't respond to them right away, because chances are whoever you contacted needs to travel back to New York or needs to do something or is doing something that evening and won't be looking at their email until first thing in the morning when they're back in the office. If it's right after an informational interview, a couple hours later is okay. But after 2 days, it's probably too late and they've forgotten about you. And in your follow-up note or your follow-up email, you want to make sure that you mention something specific to your conversation. So if you were interesting enough, then you'll have a lot to say about who you are, reiterate that you're interested, remind them of what you talked about, and continue the conversation. So what that means is periodically at key strategic points in time, you want to check in with them. So you want to provide them an update on where you stand in the process. Maybe it's right before you're submitting your application, right after you submitted your application, right before your interview, right after. Maybe you didn't get the offer, maybe you did. But always have an ask. So if it's right before you're submitting your application, ask them if there's anything you can do to best position yourself. If it's after, ask them if there's anything you can do after you submitted the application that can help you propel your chances for getting an interview. What this will do is this will help keep you top of mind. So after you submitted your application, maybe that person at Lehman that you connected with knows, hey, I really like this person, I remember them, we kept in touch, maybe I'll forward their name over to the recruiter to keep an eye out for them as they come through the process. You just want to make sure not to be aggressive and not to be annoying. So being aggressive means emailing them, pestering them, calling them when you don't get a response. Chances are, if you're not hearing from them, you may be a little bit annoying and you may want to scale back. You also don't want to send an email and then call them right away if you haven't gotten a response. You just want to make sure that you're being friendly, you're presenting yourself in the best light, and you're using these key strategic moments to ask for advice or ask for a resume review or a mock interview if they seem receptive. So those are the key tips of networking. Hopefully that was helpful. And if you have any questions, any follow-up questions, or anything else you'd like to know, feel free to respond to this video or shoot me a tweet. I'm at Tiffany Yu, #InsideIBD. Thanks so much.